Thank you.
Okay. So, thanks a lot, everyone, for joining us on weekends. It does make me feel that yes, you all are equally interested in learning in the way I am interested in sharing my knowledge. So, once again, thanks a lot, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening as per your time zone from wherever you have joined. So, this is the third session of the series that we have planned. So, basically, the plan is to make you understand about the recent things that have been brought up in Salesforce flows, that is Lightning flows. Along with that, in each series, you will learn something new about flows. And since this is the third session of the series, if this session will be totally focused on screen flows. I hope you got to understand the last two sessions very well. Like in the first session, I gave you the introduction about the different what is flow and what are the different types of flows. Then we in the second session we saw record trigger flow and the different while using different use cases. I made you understand how record trigger flows can be used. And I also made an emphasis saying that 90% or 95% of your workflow rule in process builder will be converted to record trigger flow, and most of them will be after save record trigger flow. So with that, we ended up the session. I gave you some assignments. Yeah, I'm not going to check your assignment, but still, if while doing that assignment, if you feel that you are not able to do it or you're facing some problems, we can, yes, I'm available on LinkedIn or on Twitter. You can just connect me over there and you can post your questions. So with that, let's start today's session. So today's session will be on screen flow. So what is screen flow? So screen flow, as I told you in the first session itself, it's a type of flow where you provide user interface to have an interaction with user. The user can come and put down their details, and based on that, certain operations or certain automation takes place at the back end. So that's the layman definition of screen flow. It can be used, as I told you, it can be used in Experience Cloud or on Slack channels and and all other different places in Salesforce. So there is an example which I've already told you in the first session. Today I'll take some more example and explain you more about the screen flows. In screen flows, two special elements has been added. I mean, these two elements you will find in screen flow. The first element is screen, and the second one is rollback. Okay, and what makes screen flow different from record trigger flow is that there is no configure start option. So what does I mean to say is, let me go to my screen directly and let me log in so that I can show you. So there is no configuration option for the start element of the screen flow. Like if I come here and if I go to my setup and if I search flow, so this is the way we go and start creating the flows. So I'll click on new flow and here I will select okay screen flow. Okay, so when we were creating record trigger flow, okay, so what we observed was there was a configuration option. So when I say configuration option, let me show what I'm trying to say. Suppose I'm clicking on new flow and then I'm selecting record trigger flow and then I'm clicking on create. So if you see the difference between screen flow and record trigger flow, so this is the screen flow. Okay, the name itself says screen flow, and in the start here we can't give any entry condition or the configuration settings for the start option. Okay, whereas in record trigger flow we get the configuration start, so we can set the entry conditions and we need to trigger it. So this is one of the difference. It may be asked in your interview as well. So this is one of the major difference between your screen flow and record trigger flow. Okay, now, this is a prerequisite enable lightning runtime for flows. So why it is needed is because when you are trying to implement your flow in lightning version. Okay, so there is classic and lightning. So there might be some components which are not supported in classic version. So if you want to make use of the lightning components and all that things in your lightning flows, so then you have to do it using the process automation settings. So if you go here and if you see here, so let me show you process automation settings. Okay, here you will find an option to enable lightning flows for, I think, yeah, enable lightning runtime flows for flows. So that means your flow will be will be available, and all the lightning components or LWC that are available, you can use it for your flows. Okay, so these are some of the prerequisite or some of the things that are specially designed for Screenflow. Now, with that said, I hope you understood what is Screenflow or the basics of the Screenflow. Okay, now we will go deep into it and understand the different terminologies to make Screenflow. So the first thing that we have in Screenflow or the screen element, okay, is called flow interview. Now, what is flow interviews? So a flow interview is a running instance of a flow. Now, what does that mean? So by its definition, you can just think that flow interview, or we can say that it's an instance of the flow. In the simple terms, you have objects, right? And then you have records. So what is records? So records are nothing but the instance of your object. Like they represent records represent the data of that particular object. Okay. So in the same way, a flow interview is the running instance of the flow. Now, can you tell me, like there might be a question in your mind, like can you tell me in a more simpler way? Of course. So what happens is, I'll take an example and I will tell you. Okay, so suppose this is the way a flow comes into picture. Okay, and these are the different flow interviews. Okay, now how will I understand that what is this flow interview is? So let's take an example that you're working on customer support. When I say customer support, I definitely mean to say that we are using Service Cloud. Okay, now in Service Cloud, what is the main use of Service Cloud? So the main motive of using a Service Cloud is case resolution and generating case. Okay, so a case gets created through three different ways. The first one is email to case, web to case, and sometimes it is like phone from the phone conversation. Okay, now what happens is, suppose there is a customer who is giving a call on your customer care number. Okay, now this is what generating a case through phone. Okay, now while you are creating the case for that customer, what happens is customer is sharing their details and you are creating a case, and suddenly due to some network issue, the phone got disconnected or the call got disconnected. Now what will happen is, you can't, so as we know, data is very important thing. Now you can't go ahead also, and you can't stay back, right? You have to solve the queries of other customers. In such scenarios, what will you do? In such scenarios, we will use flows. So flow has a special thing called as paused and fade flow interviews. Okay, what I mean to say is, I will have a screen, okay, for creating a case where case origin, case type I have entered, but case priority and another things are being pending. Okay, now since the customer has disconnected the call, I will click on a button which is there called pause. Okay, once you click on that button called pause, your that record or that particular flow will get paused. Okay, and you can see that particular flow in your settings. So how can I see? So there, if suppose that the details that you have entered is incomplete because the phone got disconnected, you will click on that pause button, and you can come to this option called as paused and failed flow interviews. Okay, so I'll click here, and here it will show me all the paused flow that has been done. Okay, so if that form filling was not complete, okay, you have clicked on that pause button, you can come here and you can see that. Okay, and suppose that customer again comes back, what you can do is you can click on that flow and you can again start from where you have paused. Okay, so this is the benefit of your flow interviews. Okay, also while you are creating any records, okay, some flow didn't work as per the expectation, so that failed. Okay, so that particular thing will also be available here in paused and failed flow interviews. Now, another question that might be coming to your mind is, Aman, can you tell me like how to bring that pause button, right? So for that, there is an option again, process automation, paused and flow interviews. Okay, so how can you do is, you can go here, process automation settings, and I'll quickly click on pause. Okay, so here you can see that option. Okay, once you enable this setting, the pause button appears on every screen that has pause enabled. Okay, so this is the setting that you need to enable so that you can have pause button on your the screen flow that you are going to create. Okay, and after that I'll click on save. So I hope you understood what is flow interviews and what is the benefit of having paused and failed flow interviews. With that said, let us move ahead. The next thing is called screen properties. Okay, now screen properties consist of three different sections. The first section is called as element label and API name. So what happens is, once you start creating your screen flow, what you will do is you will do something like this. You will come here. Let me close this. Yes, you will come here and you will. So normally I prefer free form, and you will click here and you will drag the screen element. Okay, and this is the section which is called label and API name. Screen label and API name. Okay, so sorry, element label and API name. So what is this? This is the screen element that I have dragged to the canvas. Okay, so here whatever name we enter that will be visible here. Okay, next section of the screen element is what? Header. So header in the sense is like, suppose you are giving this element a name. Okay, now do you want this particular name to be visible or not? Whatever name, whatever label that you are giving here, if you want that label or name to be visible, then what you will do, you will come here and you will do the configuration. So here you will just click on checkbox show header. If you uncheck that header, whatever name or whatever label that you have given will not be visible. If you want, you can just click check this checkbox. Okay, there is something called show help text, so I will show you that as well. So this is show help text is like, it is like a navigation to a user. Like suppose when you are creating a form, okay, and you want your user to enter the details or email ID in the proper format, so you will mention that please enter email ID in the format of xyz at the rate yahoo.com or gmail.com. So that is the, like, a hint to enter the details in the proper way. So that is called as help text. Okay, so that the same thing is available here as well. You can configure it in by entering the details here in the help text. Next thing is footer. So footer is like, it will consist of your navigation. So in this navigation, let me show you, this is what I'm talking about. So here if you see here, there is something called pause button, previous button, and finish button. Okay, now next or finish button will appear based on the element that you have. So finish button will appear if you don't have any other screen element inside your flow. Next button will appear if you have any other screen element inside your flow. Okay, so if you want to have this button or not based on your requirement, you can change the configuration of these buttons. Okay, so these are the different screen properties that are available on the screen elements. Now let's move ahead and understand what is next in the box. So next thing that is very important part is having screen components. Okay, this is one of the most important thing that is available in the screen element. So the screen element has three main components. The first one is input, second one is display, and the third one is fields. Okay, not to forget, fields is still in the beta phase. when Salesforce says that something is in beta phase, it means that it is not guaranteed that everything will work as per the expectation. Still, it is into the testing phase. And another thing is that Salesforce will not provide any support to the options or the things that are available in beta phase. Okay. So with that said, we have three components. As I told you, first one is input, second one is display, and the third one is fields. Now, what is input? So input consists of 37 components. So input is just like a component where the user will enter their details and that details will be captured into a particular object. Okay, so it will consist of many things, like it will be address, currency, text, name, slider, toggle, many other things. Okay, so if you select this input of address, okay, like let me drag and drop here. So it will consist of many things: street, city, state, province, and all that things. Okay, so similarly there are a lot of inputs available. I won't go to each and every inputs to tell you what is it all about. You can check. It's like all the, the different types of fields that you can create an object, the same thing. It's like the input that is available. Okay, now the next component that is there is called display and section. So what is display text? So suppose you have entered some details. Okay, you have a screen, you have entered name, you have entered your email ID, and you have entered your phone number. Now at the end you want to see what details you have entered. Okay, so what you can do is you can have this component and you can drag it here and drop it down here, and here you can mention in the resource part, here you can mention what all things you want to see. Okay, not to worry, I will show you the real-time scenario of this as well. So this is the way you can make use of display text. The another thing and the very important and the very best thing that have been brought in Flow is called section. So why we need this section? So if you know about what do you call in normal, like let me take an example of standard object called accounts. Okay, now suppose if I go onto this accounts detail page, record detail page. Okay, now here in this section, here I can see only two sections. Okay, what if I want to have more sections here? So in the page layout, we will only find that you can have only two columns, right? If I want to have more columns, more sections, that is not possible. But Salesforce has that power. Salesforce says that you can have multiple columns, I mean multiple sections. So if you see 6 of 12 half width, 2 of 12, you can configure it. Okay, more and more sections if you want, you can have it. So that is possible through section. The next thing that is another important thing is called as fields. Okay, now what is the use of fields? So instead of creating a component and then allocating it, like then going to the next like if I go to create records and then assigning uh, an object's variable an object's field to a particular variable, instead of doing that, what I can do is I can directly make use of fields and I can populate it here. Suppose I want to have the fields of account objects. So what I will do, I will go to new, click on new resource, and then I will click and select resource type as variable. I will give the API name as account. Okay, and here I will give the data type as record. Okay, now if I give the data type as record, so record data types will store all the details of that particular object that I will mention here. Okay, so if I'll give it here name as account. Okay, for now just don't think about all this. I will tell you as we go ahead, and I'll click on done. Now if you see here, I have selected, I have created a record variable for account object, and if you see all the fields related to the account object are available here, right? So this is the power of the field components that is available. So what you can do is you can just drag here and drop it down here. Okay, directly you can make use of it: account name, active, status, NIC code, employees, and all that things. Okay, and you can work on it as in when you need to use it. Okay, So this is the different components that are available in the screen element. The next thing, and the very important, again, the important thing is called choice resources. So if you see here, let me, okay, I'll drag it again, and I will take an input element called pick list. Okay, and in here, if you see here, this is an option called as configure choices. Now what is this choice resources? So if you see here, if I've selected the component type as pick list, okay, there is different option, and if I select the component type as radio button, there is different option. So choice resources specify which choices are available for selections for radio button, checkboxes, or pick list option. Okay, now what do I mean by this is there are four different choice resources that are available. The first one is called choice, second one is collection choice set, third one is pick list choice set, and the fourth one is record choice set. Okay, the basic one, we'll see the first one, and the basic one which is available in radio button is called choice. So you might have seen when you are selecting when you are filling out any form, okay, mostly when you are getting making a switch to another company or any other way, like you get to select gender. Okay, so you have two choices, male, female, or not to specify, prefer not to specify. Okay, so how that is available? So if you have minimum, like one or two choices, if you want to give it, so you can manually go here, you can click on new choice resource, and here you can select just choice. Okay, so here I will give it as just as yes, API name, and description I'm not going to give anything, and here I will give it as again what is the label that you want to have. So that was the API name that I mentioned above, and here is the label. And yes, data type is text. Choice value, again I will keep it as nothing, and yes is available. Okay, if I want to have more, again I will click on add choice, and I will click on new choice resource, and I can have manually one by one if I want to have choices. Okay, then I will use this option called choice. So if you see here, it is written create a choice option to be used in a screen component. Now the next and the important thing is called collection choice set. So collection choice set generate a set of choices from a collection of records. So what it does is, again, I will be able to create the choice set, but in now the good thing is here if I already have any collection, okay, so suppose I will go here, okay, and I will click here, and I will click on new resource. Okay, and here if I will create a variable, and I will say I am storing multiple record IDs. Okay, so record IDs is nothing but the IDs of the record that you are creating, and here I will keep the data type as text. Okay, and once I select this option called allow multiple values, so what it will take, it will have all the collections of IDs. Okay, and if I click on done, so now this is having collection of IDs, and I want to use that particular collection. So what I will do, I will go to my elements, I'll drag this screen element, I'll again go and click on pick list, and I will drop it here. And here in the configure choices, I will click on this new choice resource, collection choice set. Okay, that option is not coming. Let me try. What is that record? Okay, this option is not coming. Record collection. There is some problem, I think. Okay, we'll wait for a couple of minutes. Like might be some issue with this flow. I'll go ahead and I'll tell you about that another choice set, that is the record choice set. Okay, so record choice set is having generate a set of choices using a filtered list of records. Okay, so how does it works is, like suppose I want to have the account object. Okay, I'll take the account object, and I want to filter account records, I will select none. Okay, I will select this option as none, get all records. Okay, and choice label, I will give something called anything. I will give it as annual revenue. Okay, text value. Sorry. So text one, we can have it anything. Mm, choice label, I will just give it at here. Okay, let me show you how it works. Okay, I've not given API name. Okay, now if I want to make use of that pick list, so what it is having is, so this is the record choice set. Now the record choice set, so what is the difference between the record choice set and the pick list choice set? So the record choice set will have the collection of the records where you can have that the pick list values or the choice set values based on your requirement. Okay, so suppose I have given this choice label of any field, okay, as active, and I have given any values, billing address, or if I want to have more values, I can give it from here. Okay, so it is having the record choice set, like it will have the values from a particular objects fields. Okay, and if I select, if I want to use another one, the another one that I'm talking is about pick list choice set. So here directly I can use, if I again select this account object, and here data type I will select as pick list. So directly I can use any field which is of the type pick list. Okay, it will only show me the field which is of the type pick list. If you see in the record choice set, it will be showing you all the fields which is either of the type pick list or not. Okay, so anything we can, like customer priority or anything that we can use. So I'll give the same name, customer priority. Okay, and I will click on done. So this is the way we can have it, all the different choices. Again, I will have I have a use case where I will show you how to make use of this choice sets. Okay, now moving ahead, we have something called a set component visibility. So this is very much similar to your what do you say, if else block, but it is like based on certain condition I want to show certain fields. Okay, if this condition is satisfied, show this field, otherwise else hide those field. Okay, so how can we do it? uh Let me show you. So suppose I'm going here, and I'll go down, and I'll click on set component visibility. Okay, so I can give it here a reason, all conditions are met. Okay, so currently I don't have any other field created before this. So first I will go and select, or I will create a field here, and I'll drag drop it before this. Okay, and I'll give it as name. I'll keep it as required, and here I can give set component visibility, and I will say that all conditions are met. And if I say here, if name equals does not equals null, only then show me this particular field, that is picklist field that I have created. Okay, so how will I come to know whether there is any component visibility or not? So the easiest way is, you can find this eye icon, right? This icon will become visible if there is any condition that has been put for this particular field to be visible. Okay, so conditions can use any values or resources from the flow, and also be and also can also be a set of multiple condition, and or custom logic. So if you see here, I have used and, you can use and, you can use or, or you can you make your own custom logic. Okay. So, and how we will be able to identify? So this icon is there. So that is it from the component visibility. Now let's move on to the validate input. So before I go on to the validate input, let me see, there are questions, I think. Okay, there is a question from Hem Prasad. What is the difference between choice label and value in the record choice set? Okay, given that if the points to a field, okay. Does it make more sense have both point to the same field than different fields? Okay, so to answer your question, it is like, when you create any object, so you have an object name and object API name. Okay, so object API name is the name which Salesforce will understand, and object name is the name which a user will be able to understand, or which the name is visible to a user. Okay, now if you create a form and you mention an API name, it will be very hard for a user to understand what is it speaking about. But if you create a normal name and put it on in a form, like the simple in a sim in a very simple way, if I have created this name field, okay, I have given it the label as name, so the user will understand. Normal user will understand, okay, it is the name. But here API name, if I give it as account underscore name. So this is the thing that Salesforce or the persons who are working at the backend will understand. Okay, so that's the difference between the name, the label, and the API name that has been that I was talking about. Okay, so let me check. Is there any other question? Okay, Megesh has tried to answer it. Thank you, Megesh. Okay, so there is no other question, I guess. Yeah. Okay, so let me tell you about validate input. Now, what is validate input? So validate input is like it allows you to validate what a user enters in a screen flow and provide an error message to guide the user. Okay. So like suppose if the user is entering account name, I don't want the user should enter. I have taken this example that user should enter the name less than 5 characters. Okay. So if there is any such requirement, we can make use of the validate input. Okay, so how does it happen is like this. You can use this option called validate input. Okay, and I have this option called as formula. So here we can say length, name, the API name. Okay, here if you see here, I have used the API name. Never use the name which you are mentioning at the label. Okay, always mention the API name. So len is what you say is the function. Okay, so if you don't know the function, then you can see from the you can directly see from the guide which is available. So len, and then this is open curly braces, and here I will mention the name. Okay, and here if I will say greater than equal to 5. Okay, the same thing I have mentioned here. Okay, I have missed the wrong bracket, so I will give it as like this. And there is one problem where with this particular thing. What do you say? You can't validate the formula which you are mentioning here. So be very specific while you are mentioning the formula, because you can't validate whether your formula is right or not. The easiest way is go to validation rule and enter the same formula that you mentioned here, and then click on validate and check whether it is proper or not. If it is proper, you can just copy it down and put it here. Okay, and here you can mention the error message that you want to show, like name should be greater than 5 characters, something like this. Okay, so I hope that is quite easy to understand what is validate input. Now the next thing is like display a screen flow. Obviously, once we create a screen flow, it's very important to display it on the UI. So you can have your screen flow on different places. You can have it on lightning pages, flow actions, utility bar, your experience builder page, visual force pages, and web tabs. Okay, you can also have it on custom buttons and links. So I'll quickly show you some of the ways. I can't go and show you in all the ways. So if you suppose if you have created any flows, and if you want to have it on your buttons which is there on account object, so you can just go to your button links and actions, and you can directly go to your new button or link if you're creating any button, or you can use the existing button also. So here, if you see here, let the page load. Okay, and okay, sorry, I have just the wrong option. New action. And here if you see the option to use a flow. Okay, and here you can use any flow that you have created. So this is one of the way. Another way is going to your lightning record pages and making it available. So there are a lot of ways to make use of it. Okay, I will show you some of the ways when I am doing it in the when I'm doing the practical implementation. So there is two questions. Let me check. Got it. Thanks for it. Let's pick list. Okay, there's no question. Okay, let's move ahead. Variables visibility outside the flow. So this is one of the things that I was telling you to ignore from very long time. Now it's time to make you understand what is that. So if you see here, I'm going to manager and I'm creating new resource. And here, if I select variable as the data type, sorry, a variable as the resource type. And if I mention here record, okay. And if I mention here, okay, this name is already the record IDs, I'll give it. And here if I keep the data type as text, okay. Now if you see here, there is two options, right? Available for input and available for output. So what does it mean is, if you click on this option called available for input, so that means that your particular variable that you have created can take values and can store it. Okay, so that means available for input. The same thing I have mentioned here. So when defining a variable within a flow, you can specify its availability. Available for input, used to capture value from outside the flow and use it in it. Okay, so if I want to store, suppose I am keeping my flow onto the account page, and I want, when account is created, or I want a case to get created on this account page. So what can I do is, I need to pass that ID. Okay, case and account will, how will it have a relationship? Through the IDs. Okay, so what I will do, and I will pass that account ID to that case, and then case will get created, and then it will stick to this particular account. So how is it possible? Through this available for input option. Okay, the next option is called as available for output. Now what does it mean is, suppose you have created this particular variable called record IDs, and you want to use this variable in any other subflow or any other flow. You can make use of it only when this option is selected, available for output. If it is not selected, you can't use this variable in any other flow. Okay, now you might be having a question, okay Aman, what if I have selected this and I have not selected any of this option? So by default, Salesforce says that if you have not selected any of this option, the first options becomes selected by default. You won't be able to see it, but by default it becomes available for input. Okay, so that is the difference between available for input and available for output. So I have given a use case, pass a parameter to use in a flow such as the context from which the flow was executed, and available for output use cases reference the value of a flow in another flow. Uh, yes, yes, this is very nice example, Venkat. Yes, you can consider this like get set in the Apex. Okay, next is capture record context. Okay, this is very important from your using this flow. Now, what is this is, suppose as I told you an example, that I want to create a case, and at the same time I want that case to get allocated to an account. Okay, so what I will do is, I will make use of variable resource type, and I will give the API name as record, then I will keep the data type as text. Now, if I keep the data type as text, okay, so what will happen is, it will store only IDs. But if I keep the data type as record, okay, if you see, once I give the data type as record, here you are getting an option to select an object. So if you select any object, so it will store all the details related to that particular record that we have mentioned. Okay, so what is the difference between text and record variable type? So if you select text, when choosing the text type, it will capture the ID of the record. Okay, not to worry, in the practical implementation I have captured this scenario. Okay, so if you select the data type as text, so it will store only the ID of the record, and when choosing the record type, it will capture the complete values of the record. Got it? I hope you understood. So let's move on to the practical implementation. So before I move on, let me see if there any question. Oh my god, there is a long question. I am not sure about the question, whether it makes sense. Okay, I think Nalluj is trying to make Hema Prasad answer that question. Thanks, Nalluj, for that. Okay, so we are done with the theoretical part. It's time to do some practical implementation. So this is the first scenario. Create an account using Screenflow. Also make sure that when an account is created, a contact should also get created on the same account. Show a confirmation screen stating account and its related contacts has been created successfully. So it's very easy. So what we need to do is we need to go to flow builder. I'm not going to use this flow, so I'll go back and I'll click on leave. And here you need to click on new flow. As we are learning Screenflow, so we need to select Screenflow and we'll click on create. And here I will select the layout as free form. Here I will drag this element called screen, and here I will give the name as create account and related contact. Okay. Header footer, let it be. I don't want to have in footer, I don't want this previous button, so I will just hide previous button from here. Let the pause and finish button be there. Okay, now I will use what text, and here I will mention the label as name, API name is, and I will keep it as required. Okay, and what are the other fields? I will keep it as phone. Okay, let me go here and see what are the fields that are available. So I'll keep it as name, account name, and rating. This is the one field, phone, industry, and annual revenue. Okay, fine. So I will keep another one, a number field or currency field, since it's the annual revenue. So I will keep the another field as currency, and here I will give it the name as revenue. Okay, and I will show you the power of this what is called as component visibility. So I will give it as condition only if the name field, if it is not null. Okay, so it does not equals null. So I told in the last session, whenever you are using any text field, okay, always use this one, global constant empty string. Never use is null or is not null. Okay, so I have mentioned this condition and it's available here. And here account name, revenue, any other one, we can take it example of the pick list choice set I want to show you. So I will select this one and I will click it here, and here I will mention a resource, new choice resource, and here I will select the resource type as pick list. API name I will keep it as what is I think it's a rating, so I will give it as a rating. Object I will give it as account. So data type will be pick list, and it will show the field. So rating is there, yes, account rating, and click on done. Okay, and if I want to use another field, so what I can do, if I want to show you fields beta which is there, so I will click a new resource here. I will select the resource type as variable, and here I will say record account. Okay, and here data type will be record. So as I told you, right, the difference between if you select the data type as text or record. So if you see here, I've selected the data type as record, and I told you, right, it will store all the fields related to all the values, all the fields related to that particular object that you mentioned. So I will select again here object as account. Okay, and here I will keep it as it is. So I will just keep it as available for input. Even if you don't select that, it will be available for input. So if you see, all the fields which is related to the account object is available. So here, from here, I will just drag it here and drop industry. Okay, so that is done. Any other thing? I want to have phone field. Is there any phone field available? Let me check. So I will just go and see. Yes, phone field is available, and I will drop it here. That's it. Okay, and I will click on done. Okay, there is one error. Sorry, I forgot to mention the what was this is about. I think this was rating, right? Yes, I'll give it as account rating, and I click on done. So my this create account, and it is okay, is ready, and I will this one. What is the next thing? I need to create records. So I will click here and I will say create account. Okay, one records to create. Use separate resources and literal values. So I'll just use account. There was no need, but still I'll show it. Account and fields. So name and value will be name. Then there was something called phone, account phone. From here it will directly take, if you see here, that value is not coming. Why? Because it will directly put the values there. Okay, don't need to worry about that. So I'll not don't need to enter that. Then there was something called rating. So account rating, and here it will be rating, screen component. Yeah, that's it. Click on done. So account is created. Now again I will click here and I will click on, now what we need to do, create related contact. Okay, separate resources. Here we will select the object as contact, and then we will say mention the field. So account ID will be the ID that we are going to get from the previous screen. So account ID from the create account. Okay, then phone. So we can have home phone or normal, mm, not this one, this let me go down, business phone. I will take the same value which I am entered here. uh, where is that phone? Why is this not showing me phone? Okay, this is not important. Actually, name is important. First name, again here I will select the name. And as we know, for creating a contact, last name is important. So here the first name and the last name will be the same one. I think that's enough. And I will click on done, and I will click here. And the last one, as I this one mentioned, that show a confirmation screen sharing stating account and its related contact has been created successfully. So then again I will have a screen component, success message, and here what I will use is display text. If you see here display image also, you can have it. Okay, so I will use display text, and I will mention contact account and contact created. Here I'll mention it. Okay, that was an API name. So account and contact Yes, we can't have any special symbols. So, okay, one more underscore. I missed it. Yes, I'll paste it here. And one more thing I will show you is account ID. We can will show it so that. So how we can do it? We can go to this insert a resource and we can show account ID from create account and also contact ID. So like, when you are working on a project, you can dynamically show the power of flow. So contact ID from contact related. And I will hide this buttons, configure footer. I don't want this hide previous button. I want hide pause button and hide next or finish. Okay, done. And then it's done. So I'll keep it here and I'll click on save. So I'll give it the name account and related contact. That's done. Save. Before you make it active, okay, there is a success. You can't either allow finish or allow back or false but not both. Okay, success message screen. You can't set either allow finish or allow back, but not both. Okay, I mean, I think there is a problem with my button. Yes, there should be that finish button should be there. And I'll click on debug. So I'll test it. Okay, I'm not getting why. Yeah, it's coming. Okay, fine. But yeah, there is another option. So instead of debug, you can use run, which is available only for Screenflow. In the record trigger flow, you cannot use run. Okay, so I'll use run here because if you see here in debug, we can't create an account and test it. So here I'll use run and I'll click on test flow. Revenue is very high. Account rating is warm. And if you see here this industry field, right, we have just used that field option. Directly it's giving the values. Account phone, and I'll click on next. Okay, there is an error that has occurred. I don't know what is the problem. Let me check. Have I made any mistake? Okay, that's the problem that happens in run. Okay, let me try with another one. In run, let me test. Okay, please select the industry name. You can look up exception. Okay, okay, I made a mistake. Hmm, got it. Okay, you can't have that industry field account revenue. Okay, so the problem here is when you select the industry field, okay, you can you cannot have the value which you are selecting from your screen. Okay, you need to give the value. That is the problem that is happening here. Okay, so that is the issue. So for that, what we need to do is we need to provide the industry. So whatever value you give, so this is one of the drawback you can say. whatever value we select, no matter, it will select, it will give only that value. So I'll debug again. I'll click on save and I'll debug again. Or I will do what? I will run again. This it's not working. Okay, debug. Okay, there is some problem. Okay, there's, I think this is the mandatory field. Is it? I think there is some validation that I've entered in my yeah, I think this is the mandatory field for me. Let me check. Is it that? So that's what happened when you have multiple things written on same object. So yes, that is the mandatory field. It is showing the error because of that. So I'll have to include facts field as well. So I will keep it as a number and I'll give it as name as facts done. Facts. Storage limit exceeded. Okay, fine. So there is no problem with my flow. Actually, the problem is that the storage limit which is there in my org that has been exceeded. So I'm sorry for that. I know this problem is going to. So there is no problem with my flow. Okay. So I'll try to create one account and I will try to see. Okay, discard changes. I'll click on this new. I think the storage limit has, there is no storage available for my account. So I will have to log in through my another account. So the same flow I have created in some in another org as well. So I'll try to show this example with that one. So I've created lots of flows on this here as well. So I'll show it from here. Accounts and I'll click on new. So I'll give the rating as okay. I'm doing a wrong thing. Actually, I need to show you the screen flow. I need to do it. I think yes, I have created here. Yes, there is already a then account and its related contact. Okay.
Aman, if we delete few records in your previous org, will that works?
I know I can do it, but I'm not sure whether it will. Let me try. What I'll do is I'll delete some flows only. I'll go to this flow builder, so it is already active. I should have been very cautious before doing this. So
No, that's fine. No worries. I think you already explained what are the steps to
Yeah.
create. I think that's fine, but we can give a try. If not, then that's fine. Because this is the limitation of DevOps, right? We have a very limited
Yeah,
storage,
so
so mm,
I'll try to delete some.
delete the records. Let's see if that works.
There are so many things I have done in this org.
Mm,
Some of the other thing is triggering it.
okay, that's fine. No worries.
Yeah. Let me try. I've deleted three records. Let me try to bring that flow here.
Okay.
If that worked, it's fine. Otherwise, there is no other option left. So yeah, I was telling you how can you use it on the builder page as well. So this is one of the example. We'll click on this flow. We'll drag it here and drop it down here.
Yes, I think Hemp Prastha is correct. I think we need to hard delete it, might be because we have deleted it. It will go to
Be there in the
recycle bin.
recycle bin. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is the problem. I don't know whether this will work or not, but let's see. Okay, so now flow is ready. So I'll give it as a name, revenue max, account rating, give it as hot, industry, give it as anything. No,
Same issue. I
limit
think.
has exceeded.
Mhm. Okay. No worries. That's fine, Aman.
Yeah, I'm very sorry for that. I don't know whether second one is like create a screen flow to create a case under quick action. So this is like I can I've already created that in my another org. So what I can do is I can show them the logic.
Mm.
Okay, because there is no limit available in this org. So I can just show them the logic and they can try on their own. Also, we are running short of time now. So this is case creation, I guess. Yeah, where is that? Case account creation, yes. So this is the another example that I wanted to show. It's like you can, this is the element that I have done. Like this is screen elements is the basic one. Uh, the first I'll tell you, I've used the toggle button where, which is asking whether you want to use an existing account or not. If you select yes or no based on that, the things will happen. Okay. So again, I have given the component visibility option here that record ID which you are passing should not be null. Okay. So what I'll do is, Sushant, I'll cover this example in the another next session. Okay, Winter 23
Yeah.
updates, because it's not good that I'll just speak up without showing the practical implementation.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we can cover it in our later session. No
Yeah.
worries.
So very sorry, people out there. There is a limit in my storage, so that has been exceeded. I will try to create another org and I'll show you this example there. Okay, so it's I think that's all. And let me check whether is there any questions. So there are a lot of things. Okay, it's okay. There is no question. People are saying don't worry. Okay, thank you so much, people supporting me. I'll just take this scenario in the next session and then I'll show you in a very easy way. So with that, I think that's all from my end.
Yeah, thanks,
Sushant.
Aman. Yeah, thanks for sharing this. And I think we all we and I see you have covered all the things related to screen flows. Okay, so I think those who are new to lightning flows, they can basically create their own apps using this flow. So do try to perform some hands-on at your end, guys. And if you have any doubts, we have another session next week. You can put all your questions over there, and what is the remaining in today's session, Aman is going to cover in next week's session. So that's fine.
Yeah, definitely. Like
Mhm.
for the theoretical and the understanding part, everything has been explained. Only the
Yes.
thing is, I just need to show them the practical implementation. So the one of the thing I have shown you, the another thing again I will show you, the second scenario.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no problem in that.
Sure. No worries. Yeah. Uh, Now let's go to the Kahoot. Just give me a second. Opening this.
Yeah, till the time you are giving the Kahoot details, people, if you are practicing and you're stuck somewhere, you can just reach out to me on LinkedIn as well. So this is my LinkedIn handle. I have shared it there. So you will find me very much active on LinkedIn. So yeah. So if there is anyone who don't know Kahoot, so Kahoot is like a quiz where I think many of you know about KBC, fastest fingerprint, fastest finger first. So, so you all need to guess the right answer and that too in a very fast way. So the first one who answers it will get the whatever swags and vouchers that we have.
So, as I already mentioned in the start of the session, so this particular session is sponsored by Salesforce Hunt,
Yes.
an initiative by one of our community superstar, Rohit Kumar. He has his own YouTube channel called Salesforce Hunt, so you can do check out. And he's recently launched a Udemy course, which is a mastering of VS Code 2022 with Salesforce. So today, the winner of this Scout quiz will get the voucher code, so that he or she can redeem it on Udemy and go through with this Rohit's count. I mean, Rohit's Udemy course. Okay, so let me. I'm starting this quiz and sharing my screen.
All the best, everyone.
Hope you can see my screen.
Yes, we can. All you need to do is just enter in your Google Chrome kahoot.it and this is the game pin 1704309. And please enter your correct name. So if we get any another name, we will just remove them. Enter with your correct name so that we can announce the winner in the proper way. Okay, so we have 28 participants and here we can see only 19 people. Be little fast.
Why this is happening?
Okay.
Just give me a second, guys.
So we can stop the recording, Sushant.
Yeah, we can stop the recording.
Okay, let me stop.